We are applying for this. It's kind of, I told Julian, it's kind of a long shot. It's
Mm-hmm.
called Previs Sparks. It's
Mm-hmm.
$1 million. Holy crap. And so I'm joining forces with another two organizations to come to put this crazy idea together. I don't remember. I remember Julian seeing you change, right? And I remember even back, it might have been when we were doing, I remember this topic came up when we were doing the steadfast tin soldier,
Mm-hmm.
when we were doing that shadow puppet stuff, and we were just meeting, like it was a very small group. And I remember on one of the first days, there was this little girl. She was really little too. I don't remember her name. Latina, like from Mexico. And we were going around the circle and just talking. And then she referred to you as Kim. And at that point, it, wasn't defined in any way, shape, or form. And I remember like, oh, like I just remember wanting to protect you, and just so that you felt safe, whether you were ready for this or that or whatever. And then I don't know if I asked you then or if I asked you like I would have asked you in the moment, like, okay, what do how do you want us to refer to you? And you're like, I don't care. If someone thinks this of me, then that's fine. Or if they think that, I'm like, okay, but and then I do remember a little bit of when we were exploring this topic in with self conchas. And I think Wendy and I were just, honestly, like these moments like might seem really big to you because they're happening in your head and you're like, I'm going to make a male character. And we're like, cool. All right, make a male character, like, and what matters to to us more is just like that you feel safe to try that. And it's such a non thing in theater, like, yeah,
Yeah.
read that part, or don't read that part, or you want to make a more masculine character. Cool. I'm literally not reading into like the meaning and the depth of that,
Yeah.
which is kind of nice. It's just like, yeah, do it. Like,
Yeah.
it's not a thing. It's not a thing. And that's really where my focus was. But honestly, you're telling me this story, and I'm like, I remember there was a male character, but it makes it makes me feel really good that that was a place where you felt like, and honestly, like you said, the power of the arts and also just the power of that space of just being like, I'm going to dip my toe into this possibility and try it on and have fun with it.
Yeah.
And you're in a space where not only is it non-judgmental, it's just like not even a thing. It's just like, okay, cool,
Yeah.
go for it. Yeah, that's really cool. Oh, okay. So then if I'm pretty sure we still have time to change the language. So let me tell you
Mm-hmm.
specifically, I don't know exactly what it says, but it says like that this play was created in collaboration with, um, I think it's like girls or those who identify as girls or something like that.
I think it was
Um,
girls and like female identifying people, something like that. I remember. I
yes.
remember because I remember reading it and I was like, I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
Well, I'm sorry that you didn't
But
feel like you could say something, but
I mean, that was more of a me thing. That wasn't on you or the team or anything. It was more. I wasn't ready to
that's fair.
like sing.
That's fair. So what
But yeah,
would
I do
you
remember.
like it to say instead? Because I don't know, like what I want to convey with that message is that those having female or girl experiences were involved in the making of this thing.
Yeah.
But now, I don't want to like get into the story, like, but now
Yeah.
some identify differently, like all this like long thing. But like, what do you think
Yeah.
it should say?
You could say diverse, like
Gender
girls
diverse.
and gender diverse people.
Oh,
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
that.
That's always a good one.
Yeah.
I will reach out because I'm pretty sure they're so freaking far behind. They have not published anything. It's a little hush hush, I guess. But at this point, it's been 5 years. But if I'm pretty sure we're within time, that's going to be super exciting because at that point, once that book, that anthology gets printed, y'all will be published. Like your names will be in this anthology with, attached to a play, which is just kind of wild and really exciting. I've been saying that for 5 years, so it's less exciting now, but
Still,
when it finally happens someday, which I trust it will, would be really exciting. I want to do like a party or something for that. This is a good one because even if y'all are technically adults now, you're much closer to being kids than I am and other people who are. But when it comes to it comes to like adults guiding young people in these sort of environments, what is it that you think is like, what do you think is the most important for mentors and for adults guiding young people? Not only like based on your experience and all that, on anything, not just with Bocón, but so we're gonna go into potentially we're applying for a grant where we could do like the youth ensemble but times 100 million. And so part of what we're going to do is be training mentors and be training young people like yourself to do what I was doing, just like mentoring young people and doing and making creative things. Folks who might be going through stuff in their own brains, that might be going through stuff emotionally. And so I think what advice would you have for those people?
Yeah, sure. I think two main things. One, creating that like safe space, which I think you did very naturally.
Oh.
And I think it's just important to keep in mind, like, to make sure that things are trauma informed because that benefits everybody. And I think that that's a really valuable thing to like teach mentors because not everybody has like that background or that understanding. And that's super important with kids and with youth, especially if somebody's going through something and if they need a safe space, like from their home life or whatever the situation may be. It's helpful to everybody to have that basis.
Can you elaborate? Because I don't think everybody, wouldn't necessarily know. What does it mean to be trauma informed?
Yeah. So being trauma informed is having the understanding that like every person, every kid, every child may possibly come from a background of some level of trauma, some danger or lack of resources in their everyday life. And so you want to make sure that you have predictability, that you are a safe person, and that you are just creating a space that makes everybody feel welcomed and safe. And so you have to be careful about your language and just be very intentional about how you set up lesson plans and how you set up a classroom, and just every aspect of it has to be kind of carefully planned to make sure that you're conscious of different like life experiences basically. So yeah, that's the basis of it, is just like having a safe place for people, for kids to be able to know that they will come to this space and that everything's going to be safe and that they can be themselves and that they can talk to you if they need to talk to you, and that you're going to be there, that you're going to be a reliable person there. And then the second part of it, I think, is also kind of part of being trauma informed, really playing to everybody's strengths. So I've definitely found it helpful when my mentors have kind of noticed like, oh, you're really good at this particular thing. And like they help me strengthen that part, that thing that I'm good at. And it helps giving the person like self-efficacy. So feeling like they're able to do more, not just that one thing, but they feel confident so they can keep pushing like to do more things and to learn more. Because if you don't have that, then you're just kind of like, oh, like I'm not good at anything. And I'm just like, I'm not ever going to accomplish anything. And it just becomes like a spiral of self-doubt without that, like that guidance of like, this is a possible path that you can go down and you're very capable of that, but you can also go down all of these paths and like you're able to not just strengthen the one thing that you're good at, but you are able to kind of like expand your what you thought you were capable of. I think that's what a good mentor is capable of bringing out in people.
Yeah, I agree. I think that listening and noticing,
Yeah.
that paying attention to each individual, it
Mhm.
can be hard, right? When you have a big group, but that's why I tend to like smaller groups, like 10 to 15, where you can really pay attention, like, oh, this kid is super shy, but they're incredible at, at writing or whatever. Okay, let's do that. That's what you're going to do, and build them up in the thing that they're good at, which doesn't mean that they can't expand to other things and try other things. That goes with the safe space, right? It's a safe space. Go try it out. Might not be your best suit, but who cares? Like, go try it out, and then like really pump them up with the thing that they're good at. I think that's something that, like, in the language of my generation, I guess, in terms of like service work, we've been using empower a lot, to empower kids and empower. And I feel like these words tend to get used so much that they kind of lose their value. So I just wrote down self-efficacy. And I feel like I like that even better right now than empowering, because it's like, it is kind of empowering, but it's literally, I mean, I think I translate in Spanish, right? Eficaz, that you're capable.
Yes.
And that not only that you're capable, but that that you're capable.
Mhm.
So that's like the confidence. And I really like that even better than empower. Because empower, the word empower implies that I have power that I'm giving to you. Versus you have it yourself already. You have the capacity, the everything. We're just like creating a little bubble where you can like go for it, try it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that ends up applying to every other aspect of life, not just what you're doing, and whatever whatever your mentor is mentoring you on. It translates to other things. I think another thing, my mom actually mentioned it the other day, because one of my tias, she teaches like dance to kids. And my mom was saying that she thinks that you and her would work really well together, because of both of you kind of have, when you're teaching kids, you kind of like let them figure things out like on their own. Obviously you would guide us, but like you would give us room to have our own ideas and express our own ideas and try to figure them out and like try to make them work, instead of just like, oh, well, this is what you're going to do for this, and this is how you're going to do that and that and that, I think that's a very important part in mentoring as well, that you definitely embody that.
Thank you. That's kind of what Bocón, like that's one of the reasons why we chose the word Bocón, because it was, well, do you know why we chose Bocón?
Because of loudmouth?
Yeah, so that's part of it. So it's big mouth, right? So self-expression, and the idea that like something that's, I think theater and dance can be a little notorious for this, which is like to tell kids what to do on stage, because it's easier, right? It's easier to have these little robots that just like do what you tell them to do.
Yeah.
And not to say that there isn't learning in that, and modeling, right? Like, you copy me, that's how you learn. There's definitely a way that's a way. But I think the self-expression is much more powerful, because you're really discovering what your own voice is.
Yeah.
So there's this play called Bocón, not just the organization, but there's a play called Bocón by Lisa Loomer. And the play is about a boy who gets caught he lives in Central America somewhere, and his parents get taken away by the government, and they're like in a war-torn country. And then he travels to the north. He travels to the City of Lights, right? The City of Angels, Los Angeles. And he gets caught by Border Patrol, and he's in front of a judge, and he's having to tell his story. Sounds like very dark and crazy, right? But it's actually a very funny and uplifting story. But the message with that story, and I read this play and directed it when I was in college, and it was such a huge impact to me, was the message with this play was, tell your story, so that others can know what's happening. Tell your story, because it's your story to tell, not my story to tell. And I think so the fact that you caught on to that, right, is so incredible. Because that's the whole point. It is that we can present knowledge, we can present tools, we can present like, here's some information, here's how I would do it. I have experience, but let me show you. But ultimately, like, you have to find your own path because you have to tell your story, not my story to tell. And I remember learning this lesson so clearly with you guys when we did that very first play with the youth ensemble, because I was all about, like, maybe because I was struggling with my own identity as a Mexican American. And I was like, for me, it was so much about, like, the kids, they want to identify and they want to, like, celebrate their culture and all this stuff. Not to say that isn't true. But when I went to talk to you guys about that, it's like, yeah, like, how do you identify? And like, but I was all trying to bring in, I had my agenda, right? Like you do, as much as you try not to, you have your agenda. And then it was such a beautiful lesson for me when you guys were like, yeah, I identify as a skater and I identify as, all these other things that had nothing to do with race and nothing to do with ethnicity. And I was like, oh, maybe these kids are beyond that. They're not trying to, like, I'm sure it's a part of it. And at some point we all get there, but you guys didn't care so much about that. You identified with whatever your friends or, or what you were into and all of that stuff was just like, sure. And I don't know. I thought it was really beautiful, but it was a lesson for me to be like, your agenda doesn't matter. It's not your story to tell. It's their story to tell.
Do you remember what I wrote? Because I don't remember.
No idea.
I want to find out if we can find out if there's anything.
I know, like a recording or something, right? You know what I do have, and I've been slowly getting rid of it, is that when actually, no, this is not one of them. When we got our youth ensemble, I purchased a bunch of like Dollar Tree notebooks, and you guys all had one, but they're so big, you end up using like 3 pages. And then the way I am, I'm like, I didn't want to get rid of them. So I had for a really long time, they would be my work notebooks and I would pull one out when I needed a new one. And I would like look at the first couple of pages and see like your guys' writing and like your journal entries and your poems and your scribbles. And I was like, oh my God, it's so cute. And then I'd rip it out and use it.
Oh my gosh.
But every now and then I would take a picture or I would like send it or I would keep it. So I don't think I found yours, or if I did, it was such a long time ago. But
we might have had it or something.
That too. Some kids took theirs home. Oh, hi, there's a dog too.
Hi, baby. Oh,
Ari's daughter.
Oh my goodness.
Far from her daddy. Me. Oh my goodness.
Wait, what's your doggy's name?
Finn.
Oh, Finn. Wait, this is Finn? You've had Finn for a long time.
Yeah.
Yes. I remember the first time I met her, they were picking me up from theater.
Yeah.
From Sweetwater.
Yeah.
And I saw her. I saw her in Ari's arms. I just saw her little butt. It was like this big. And now it's this big.
I know the feeling. Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, I do have to go in a little bit. So I feel like we had a really fun, cool talk.
Yeah.
I love we can revisit this conversation. I actually think there's more conversations that we're want to get into. Like I said, we are applying for this. It's kind of I told Julian, it's kind of a long shot.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Previs Sparks. It's $1 million. Holy crap. And so I'm joining forces with another 2 organizations to come to put this crazy idea together. And it's going to be basically a bunch of youth ensembles in different parts of San Diego. And then we would have a mobile theater unit with buses, and they would like rotate to like each location, and they would create plays, like very similar to what we did like very, very beginning. But then we would have culminating performances with like the buses come together like Transformer style. I mean, we had to think big. It's $1 million idea. You want me to spend $1 million? I got you.
Yeah.
But it's a long shot. There's going to be so many organizations that apply, and there's going to be one winner. They're calling it a winner. They're making it like a competition. I'm not a big fan of this process, but And then they'll choose, I think, 4 or 5 honorable mentions to get $20,000, which is like fine. We can make literally one ensemble, but
something.
whatever. It'd be stupid of us not to try. So we're trying. Which honestly, this like part of that was like, I need to talk to Julian. I need to talk to Ari, and that's why I reached out. So I was like,
Yeah.
we need to bring it back. We need to bring it back because we've done a lot of cool stuff, but there isn't anything really as impactful, I fear, as the youth ensembles. Like we've done plays, we've done stuff in school, but who becomes a part of Bocón? You guys, like the ones that we were like together every day after school for 6 months or whatever, like that's how we really build community.
Yeah.
So we'll let you know what happens with that. Put good vibes out there for that grant. We'll see. But okay, to wrap up, let me see. There's 3 questions here. I'll let you pick one. How about that? Okay. So first question is, looking back, what are you most grateful for about your time with Bocón? So that's question 1, very apropos with Thanksgiving coming up. Question 2, what's next for you in your artistic journey? Be anything. You can also answer all 3. And any closing thoughts. So what are you most grateful for? What's next for you? And any closing thoughts?
I'm definitely most grateful for just the experience. It's always in my head. Like I'm always thinking about it. I always think back to having this time after school with my friends. Whenever I'm walking on the sidewalk, I think of when we would play our zombie game where we would walk on the curb on the red and try to balance on that. I always think of that. I always think of how amazed and like aspiring you always were to me as a mentor. And it's just Bocón lives rent free in my head all the time. I think as far as the future, I'm not sure. In terms of the arts, I'm almost done with the MT school. I feel confident I feel confident about it, and I think I'll have a lot of downtime while I'm working to pursue more of the arts, which I'm excited. I'm excited to do that. I hope I can keep working with Bocón. Of course, I'll do whatever I'm able to. And yeah, I'm excited.
I love that.
I'm also very grateful for the experience, of course. I feel like I said, it was a great outlet to have, and like I didn't get to do theater and stuff like I wanted to, and it felt wonderful to be able to perform and to write and to do all of these creative things. And creativity is also just so important to like critical thinking skills and all that stuff. Like Julian was saying, like it really does help you problem solve like in everything. And it's so important for Latina youth, and people that grew up like us, like to have those places to go to after school, and like to have things that keep your brain working. And over the summer, it's so important to development and like to who we become as people. And as far as what I'm doing next in my creative journey, I'm always an artist. I will always be an artist.
Published.
I am published.
You're already published.
Yes. It was such an incredible experience also. I was part of a trans youth writing cohort. And so we got to learn about like different narrative styles and just kind of strengthen our writing skills. And we were published in an anthology book, Trans Volume 1. And so that was amazing also, like so validating to me, and like I feel more capable as a writer. And I really hope that I can keep writing, and I hope that I can maybe do theater again, because it's one of my big passions in life. And I also would love to keep working with Bocón and be involved in whatever capacity. I would love to do anything that I have so many applicable skills now, like in with my journey through life that I've been through, the 20 million lives that I've lived. I've definitely learned a lot that I would love to impart. So Yeah, I'm excited.
That's awesome. That's really exciting. That's so exciting. And honestly, you two were the first that came to my mind when I thought of, okay, if we do this youth ensemble again and we need mentors, like having you who've been a part of it for so long, like what it did for you, what you need in order to be that mentor and to just like get creative with young people and pass on the stuff, the joy, the nurture.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. Okay, well, let's wrap it up. Like and subscribe. Just kidding.
I think we have more to talk about, so this is gonna have to be a series.
I think so too. One I have the other one that I really, really want to do is what is theater for youth, like on a professional level, because San Diego doesn't really have like a good, base for what that is. So when we do plays as like professional theater, people don't know what we're doing. Like they don't know what box to put it in. And so that's another one that I really want to do. But yeah, if you guys have topics and stuff, just let me know.
Bye.